Ish, my friend, I see you. I really do. Maybe right now, as you're listening to my voice, there's a quiet hum of worry in your spirit, a little tremor in your heart that no one else quite sees. I know that feeling, that deep, unsettling churn when everything around you feels like it's shifting, like the ground you thought was solid is suddenly not. Perhaps it's a job, a relationship, a dream you held so tight, or even just the rhythm of life itself that has taken an unexpected turn. You wake up some mornings, don't you, with this heavy question hanging over you. What now? You look at the future, and instead of a clear path, it's just fog, a thick, confusing mist where you can't see the next step, let alone the horizon. And honestly, my friend, it can be terrifying. It's like you're standing on the edge of a great roaring ocean, and the waves are crashing, threatening to pull you under. You feel that fear, that anxiety, that sense of being completely adrift, don't you? That feeling that your anchor has been lifted and you're just floating, hoping not to crash. Ish, I know that feeling of your foot slipping when you thought you had it all together, when you thought you knew the plan. Maybe you're exhausted from pretending you're okay, from putting on that brave face for the world, when inside, your heart is just aching for a moment of peace, a whisper of certainty. You're asking, will things ever be calm again? You're wondering where God is in all this chaos, aren't you? You're longing for a hand to hold, a voice to say, it's going to be all right. That deep, guttural sigh that escapes you when you're alone, when the silence is too loud, and your thoughts are racing, chasing each other in a dizzying circle of what ifs and if onlys. You're tired, my friend. You are truly, deeply tired. You see others moving forward, seemingly unaffected, and a part of you feels left behind, or maybe even a little resentful. Shame. Why them and not me? Why is my path so full of thorns and shadows right now? This season of change, this uncertainty, it's not just external, is it? It digs deep into your very soul, challenging your faith, your identity, your sense of purpose. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about yourself, about life, about God. You feel like the very earth is giving way beneath you, and the mountains are falling into the heart of the sea, and the waters are roaring and foaming, and the mountains quake with their surging. It's too much, isn't it? That feeling of being overwhelmed, of trying to grasp at something, anything, to hold on to, but your hands just keep coming up empty. Ish, my friend, listen to me. Let me tell you what happened to me, because I've been where you are. I've known that exact ache, that very same confusion, that profound sense of being utterly lost. It was a few years ago, when everything I thought was stable, everything I had built my life around, just crumbled. I had this job, this career path, this whole future mapped out in my mind. A beautiful, clear picture. And then, without warning, it was gone. Just like that. The company restructured, and I, along with so many others, found myself standing in an unexpected, stark reality: unemployment. Ish, the shock of it. It wasn't just a job. It was my identity, my contribution, my sense of security. I remember getting that call, the polite, corporate voice on the other end explaining the difficult decision. My heart literally sank, my friend, like a stone in a deep well. I felt this rush of heat, then cold, then just numbness. I walked out of that office building that day, and the sun was shining, people were laughing, life was carrying on. But for me, the world had just turned gray. I felt a wave of embarrassment wash over me, a deep shame that I had failed, that I hadn't seen it coming, that I wasn't good enough. My mind was a whirlwind of questions. How will I pay the bills? What will I tell my family? What am I even going to do now? All the plans, all the certainties, gone in a puff of smoke. Truly, my friend, it felt like my house, built so carefully, had suddenly lost its foundation, and the winds were blowing, threatening to tear it all down. I was standing there, utterly exposed, utterly vulnerable, with no idea where to turn. That feeling, that moment of raw, gut-wrenching pain and confusion, I know it, my friend. I know it deep in my bones, just like you know it now.
Two blank lines.
Oh, my friend, that first paragraph only scratched the surface of the storm that brewed inside me. After that day, the numbness slowly gave way to a relentless ache, a heaviness in my chest that wouldn't lift. The tears, they came easily, often in the quiet of the night when I thought no one could hear. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, the silence in the room amplifying the frantic noise in my head. Every single thought was a question without an answer. What did I do wrong? Was this a punishment? Where was God in all of this? I'd whisper his name, sometimes a desperate plea, sometimes an angry accusation. Lord, where are you? I thought you promised to never leave me as an orphan, but I feel utterly abandoned right now. I felt like a child lost in a bustling market, crying out for a parent who seemed nowhere to be found. The days blurred into weeks, and the weeks into months. I tried to apply for other jobs, but every rejection felt like another stab, another confirmation that I was somehow unworthy. The energy to even try began to wane. My flesh and my heart, they truly felt like they were failing. I'd look in the mirror, and the person staring back looked tired, defeated, lost. And I know this sounds familiar to you, doesn't it, my friend? That feeling of exhaustion, not just physical, but soul deep, where even the simplest tasks feel monumental. That ache in your spirit, that dull throb of disappointment and fear that becomes your constant companion. You know that feeling when anxiety is great within you and your thoughts just spiral, don't you? You try to pray, but the words feel hollow, like they're just bouncing off the ceiling. You pick up your Bible, but the pages seem blurry, the promises distant. You wonder if your faith is even real, if God is truly listening, if he truly cares about your specific storm. I remember nights I couldn't sleep, tossing and turning, my mind replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, the what-ifs multiplying like wildfire. I'd get up, pace the floor, make myself a cup of tea, hoping the warmth would somehow soothe the cold dread in my stomach. But it rarely did. The future felt like a vast, dark abyss, and every step I tried to take felt like I was walking blindfolded towards it. Honestly, my friend, I questioned everything. I questioned my calling, my purpose, my very worth. I questioned God's goodness, his plan, his presence. If he loved me, why was he allowing this? Why was he letting me suffer this much? The world around me seemed to be moving on, celebrating, while I felt like I was stuck in a deep, muddy pit, weeping and mourning. I knew that the world rejoices, but I was grieving, and it felt like my grief would never turn to joy. It was a lonely place, a truly isolating experience, even with loved ones around me. Because how do you explain that profound sense of internal chaos to someone who hasn't felt the ground shift beneath their own feet? How do you articulate the fear of losing everything, of not knowing who you are without the things you've always defined yourself by? You know that ache too, don't you? That feeling of being misunderstood, or even worse, the fear of burdening others with your worries. So you smile, you nod, you say, "I'm fine." But inside, the storm rages on, the waves of uncertainty crashing against the fragile walls of your hope. You wonder if you'll ever find rest for your soul, if your hope will ever truly come from him again, if you'll ever feel truly unshaken. Aish, it's a heavy burden to carry, my friend, and I carried it for a long, long time. Every day was a battle against despair, against the urge to just give up. I felt like I was drowning, and the only thing I could do was just try to keep my head above the churning waters, one painful breath at a time. 2 blank lines. But my friend, Aish, let me tell you, God is faithful. Truly, he is. Even when I couldn't see him, even when I questioned him, even when my heart felt like a shriveled, dry leaf, he was there. He was always there. I remember one morning, after another restless night, I was just sitting, feeling utterly depleted. I wasn't even praying, just existing. And a memory, like a gentle whisper, surfaced in my mind. It was a verse, one I'd heard countless times, but this time it landed differently. Do not let your hearts be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. John 14:1. It wasn't a booming voice, but a quiet, insistent nudge in my spirit. It was as if Jesus himself was sitting right beside me, looking into my tired eyes, saying, "My child, don't you trust me?" And then another one, "I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you." John 14:18. It was like a warm blanket, slowly, gently, being draped over my shivering soul. It wasn't an instant fix, no, not at all. But it was a crack in the darkness, a tiny ray of light. I started, very slowly, to cling to those words. I started to meditate on them, to whisper them back to myself when the fear tried to creep in. I started to remember that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. His character doesn't change, even when everything else does. His love doesn't waver, even when my circumstances do. And then I remembered the story of the wise builder, the one who built his house on the rock, Matthew 7:24-25. The rain came down, the streams rose, the winds blew and beat against that house, but it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. Aish, my friend, I realized my foundation had been on my job, on my plans, on my own strength. And when those things were shaken, my whole house felt like it was crumbling. But God was gently reminding me that He, and He alone, is the true rock. He is my fortress, and in Him I will not be shaken. Psalm 62:5-6. It was a profound shift in my spirit. I began to seek His kingdom, truly seeking it, asking for His will, trusting that all these other things I worried about, He knew I needed them, and they would be given to me. Luke 12:29-31. And slowly, oh so slowly, the storm began to still to a whisper. Psalm 107:20-30. The waves of the sea were hushed. I started to find rest in God, realizing that my hope truly comes from Him. I started to let the morning bring me word of His unfailing love, trusting Him to show me the way I should go, and trusting my life to Him. Psalm 143:8. When my anxiety was great within me, His consolation, His gentle presence began to bring me joy. Psalm 94:18-19. My friend, God is coming for you too. Don't lose hope. He sees you right now. He knows your name. He knows the very number of hairs on your head. He knows the ache in your heart, the questions in your mind, the tears you've cried in secret. He is the God of all grace, and after you have suffered a little while, He Himself will restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. 1 Peter 5:10. He is waiting to fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in Him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Romans 15:13. You are not alone in this journey. We are a family here, truly, we are. We hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for He who promised is faithful. Hebrews 10:23. He is with you, giving you peace at all times and in every way. 2 Thessalonians 3:16. Whatever you have learned, received, heard, or seen in Him, do these things, and the God of peace will be with you. Philippians 4:9. Trust Him, my friend. Lean into Him. Let Him be the strength of your heart and your portion forever. Psalm 73:26. If this story, if these words have touched your heart, if you feel seen and understood, please share your own story in the comments below. We want to pray with you, to lift you up, to remind you that you are deeply loved and never, ever alone. Let's walk this journey of faith together, hand in hand, knowing that our God is bigger than any storm, any change, any uncertainty. He is our anchor, our rock, our peace. The blank lines. My dearest friend, in every season of change and uncertainty, remember that God's steadfast love is your unwavering anchor. a quiet assurance amidst the storm. He sees your every tear, hears your every whisper, and is gently, lovingly guiding you to a place of profound peace that only He can give. The blank lines. Lord, bless the person listening right now, my friend who carries a heavy heart in this season of change and uncertainty. You know their struggles, their fears, the sleepless nights, and the quiet anxieties that no one else sees. I pray for your supernatural peace, the peace that surpasses all understanding, to flood their heart and mind right now. Still the storm within them, Lord, to a gentle whisper. Hush the roaring waves of worry and doubt. Grant them courage to face the unknown, knowing that you walk with them every step of the way. Bring healing to their weary soul, breakthrough in their circumstances, and a renewed sense of hope that overflows by the power of